Hello and welcome, my petite petitionists. It's SJB here, and today we were going to try to get all of the paragons on the screen at the same time, but Ninja Kiwi has denied us. We have reached our paragon limit. So I'm going to ask you guys to, I don't even know, I just wanted to ask you guys' opinion, like for real, how you feel about the paragon limit. Personally, I think it's an awful idea. I think it's stupid. I think it makes no sense, and I don't know why Ninja Kiwi made it at all. I think it was probably having something to do with the lag aspect of the game, but I just don't understand it. I mean, it's like, if you have the money for it, why are you limiting us on what we're allowed to do with our money? Come on, man. So, anyways, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on that, because today, what we're going to do is we're going to show off all of the paragons, but not at the same time. We're going to compare all 6 paragons against each other. So, I wanted to try to get a Apex Plasma Master up to a high degree. And then I'm going to check out the Master Builder. Then we're going to check out the Glaive Dominus. And then we're going to check out the Ascended Shadow. And then we're going to check out the unbelievably delicious Navarch of the Seas. And lastly, but not leastly, the new Goliath doomship. And we're going to test all these guys out against each other in real-life situations and just compare them and see which one we think we should actually want to get in our games. So, let's get started. If you guys haven't yet, I have a huge favor for you. Click the little settings icon, click this little creator support section, hit SJB in lowercase letters, and hit confirm. Supports me, supports Ninja Kiwi, and supports everybody. Now, before we get too crazy deep in here, I just want to let you guys know that I don't think there's any perfect test that you could possibly pull off. I'm going to do my best here to make sure that this is reasonably fair. I'm going to try to put the towers in, mostly the exact same spot here. I'm going to try to make sure that the exact same paragon level and all of that stuff, but it does not mean that it's going to be 100% fair. So if you find some flaws in my testing, that is fair. That is completely reasonable, I believe, because there's so many different variables going on with this gameplay that you just cannot resolve them all. So, that being said, hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this. This does have full monkey knowledge available to it. We're playing in the community editor, the editor, challenge editor thing, so we're not playing in a real game here. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure I get you guys the highest paragon you can get in a regular game. So I'm going to go for a 79 level Dart Monkey Paragon. I'm going to be going for a 76 Paragon for all other Paragons, which is the highest that you can get in single player while not using Geraldo. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because that is the real-life example of wanting to get the highest Paragon, because you're going to be fighting boss balloons and things like that, where you're probably not going to be able to get 16.2 million pops anyways, so this is almost like a little bit overkill, or a little bit higher than you probably are going to need. That being said, after this round, after this bad, we are ready to go. We are going to get our Apex Plasma Master here, and he should be a level 79, if all went according to plan here. It took a long time to get here. We had to play for like 27 rounds or something like that, close to it, to make sure this is going to happen. And boom, Apex Plasma Master. Let's check this puppy out. And he is a level 79. That is absolutely perfect. Now we get rid of all of the rest of the additional towers here that kept us alive so far. And we see if this guy can keep us alive through 152 or further. I'm going to be using the best judgment on targeting and positioning and all that stuff, but again, I'm going to put all of my towers generally right here. I think that's going to be very fair. We can also use our Navarch and put him right here, right next to that as well. But then first, last, close, and strong. Usually first is going to be the best bet for us in most of these situations. One of the things to keep in mind is, again, variables. So for the Apex Plasma Master in particular, the more walls you have, and the more walls you have with the aiming capabilities that you have, the better off you're going to be. So like Cornfield and things like that, Apex Plasma Master is going to be an absolute rock star. Here, without very many walls, all we can use is the walls against the actual wall of the game. And that does not necessarily mean we are going to be doing all that great here. So let's see how far we're going to get with this puppy. 53, here's the first bad. We already got Moab sneaking through over here, and it looks like Apex Plasma Master struggling. He's going to take down these Moabs, but the bad still could sneak through. We're going to have to watch it very, very carefully. It looks like he does take down the Moabs. And scarily, it looks like this bad is probably going to sneak through, guys. Holy crap, around 153 already. That's pretty wild. We got a small chance, but DDTs are likely to sneak through, and there they go. 153 is where the Apex Plasma Master will reach his defeat. Alright, so our Boomerangs actually dominated pretty hard overall, and we were able to get a pretty early and easy Glaive Dominus here without too many issues. Dart Monkeys were actually a bit of a struggle, because even the Crossbow Masters and stuff weren't really good at popping the balloons, so I needed a lot of support towers to make sure it was going to go down. But believe it or not, unbelievably surprising. The Moab Dominator. Is it just called Moab Dom? Moab Domination. Everybody calls it Moab Dom. The Moab Dom was supremely powerful. Like, unbelievably powerful. Almost absurdly powerful. And, of course, going strong. Glaive Dominus, level 76 degree. And, again, 79 is the max for the Dart Monkeys because you get that extra 5th tier Dart Monkey. But with this guy, 76 and all other Paragons, 76 will be the highest Paragon that you can get in single player without using Geraldo. I'll point that out real quick. We're going to just see how far the Glaive Dominus is going to go for us. And I think it's looking pretty good. Definitely going to get further than the Apex Plasma Master. Almost guaranteed. I hate to say that because sometimes like bad balloons or weird balloons come out and you're just like, oh crap, Glaive Dominus sucks against that thing or whatever. So let's just kind of watch this and see what's going to happen for us. Okay, we have officially beat the Dart Monkey Paragon. I guess that's pretty fair. I mean, this guy's a bit more expensive. You know, Apex Plasma Master is only 378. Boomerang already going to be 432, so not significantly more expensive. But these guys are a little bit more expensive as well, so that should add into the play a little bit. And then one interesting thing about the Glaive Dominus that actually makes it more difficult to get than the Apex Plasma Master is buying $250,000 worth of the tower. So again, the two main ways to upgrade your Paragon level is by either getting pops, 16.2 million pops with all of your boomerangs or all of your Dart Monkeys combined together. And then the second thing is that you need to make sure that you have $250,000 worth of that tower. So in this case, it would just be $250,000 worth of boomerangs, and of course the easiest way to get $250,000 worth of boomerangs is buying a bunch of turbocharges. And you need like 40 of them or so to like fit on the map here, and boomerangs are like kind of wide, so it's like not super duper easy to fit those guys in there. Dart Monkey is a little bit easier because you got Super Monkey Fan Club and things like that, and then even easier when you get to things like Monkey Aces now, because Monkey Aces have a nice expensive 4th tier tower here for $25,000, so you'll need about 10 of those guys, if not less than that, to get that money going. And that just seems so much easier to like build and gather and get ready to go compared to almost 50 Boomerang Monkeys, especially if you're playing like easy or medium, man. That's when it gets wild. I should mention that I just realized that I still have my Super Monkey in the bottom corner here, and I apologize for that. I don't think it affected our game, but there's definitely that chance that it might have affected a little bit. Still, though, we are still defending. Even with him there, I did not lose any. I never lost any lives or had him actually be used while I was doing him, but he could have attacked a few of the balloons here and there as they kind of snuck through. He wasn't really designed to be an attacker. He was designed to just kind of be a life savior if I lost during the earlier part of the game here. It looks like didn't matter too much, but I apologize anyways. This could be the end. A bad balloon sneaking through all the way through to this side. Out of range of this guy. We got to pop this thing and the DTs. And there they go, around 171. And that is actually pretty impressive for the Glaive Dominus. The second cheapest Paragon? Moving on, we've got the Ascended Shadow. Again, Paragon degree 76, which is the highest that you can get in a regular single player without Geraldo. We're going to see how far this guy can go. I believe he's probably going to go into the 170s, if not the 180s, but I could be wrong. The main thing that he's got is he's actually got these really, really strong attacks against Zoma Gods and BFBs and everything, but even more awesome than that, his random card thing that he throws on this thing blows up bads amazingly good. So this guy is just a very good powerhouse all around. We're going to see if this guy can carry us even further. Now keep in mind that this is a tower that's more expensive than the previous ones by a significant amount. 648,000. These aren't that much more expensive than anything else, so that doesn't come into play too much. But 648,000 can be difficult to save up for, so we're expecting that this guy should be a really good tower. We are about to break into the 180s right now. Life is good. I mean, still nothing too crazy going on. I think most things are getting popped in this general square. We haven't even reached this large square here. So I still think we're going to go probably into the mid-180s, but we'll have to see how it goes, because everything just gets ramped up so quickly. You just never know. But one thing I will say is it's unlikely for DDTs to randomly sneak through, which is usually the thing that ends up killing us. Especially a DDT that pops out of a bad, because this guy just snipes DDTs so easily with those super duper sharp, amazing shurikens over here. Look at that. I mean, they just poof, automatically gonna hit him no matter what, and you just do this mega damage. So I guess because we're getting so deep in here, I just wanted to talk about one thing really quickly with this ninja, and that's that he doesn't have any abilities. Now, the Dart Monkey, the Boomerang, and the Ninja all don't have any abilities that we can use. That's going to end in this next section when we start dealing with the Engineer and the Navarch. And I just want to touch on the fact that when it comes to abilities, it definitely comes into play how well you're able to use those abilities, how good you're able to time those abilities. And I can just tell you guys right now that I am obviously not a professional BTT player, or I'm not going to professionally fight for that last round or fight for one more round higher or something like that. Just going to kind of see where it lies with an average skill level of an average use case and see where we're going to get with this stuff. So I just want to keep that in mind for you guys that, like, this is just automatic. I have not had to do anything for this ninja. He just pops. He just goes. He just does. I'll be honest with you guys, that's the way I like to play BTD6. I like to watch my stuff own automatically rather than having to use abilities on top of abilities on top of abilities, combining abilities together with weird ways. I just want to win. And I think when I don't have to do anything and I win, it's even better than doing things and winning. But some people like the high skill ceiling play, where they really have to use things in advanced ways and things like that to make them be better against things like boss bloons and stuff, when you can really kind of take it to the next level, especially on competitive leaderboards and stuff like that. So definitely just keep that in mind that I am not playing competitively or anything like that. We're just kind of having some fun, seeing how far we can get over here. And 185 is looking pretty good for us right now. 3 more bads all on the screen at the same time. This is probably the scariest thing I've seen so far, and it does not look like it's going to go bad at all. Last bad here, going to sneak around, and he gets taken down as well. Let's see if we can break 190, baby. We are on the edge of oblivion right now. This is still quite impressive. I did not expect us to get this far with the Ascended Shadow, but 200 is possible. I would severely doubt that he could take down around 200, because if a regular bad is getting almost through, a reinforced bad doubling the health plus, just going to be impossible. But we'll play it until we lose, man. Play it until we lose. You can see balloons are finally wrapping around here, but we still have enough power that we could just kind of warp around, take these guys down by the time they wrap around. Infinite range on those sticky bombs, or the card bombs, or whatever you want to call them. And here it is, my friends, round 200. Unbelievably impressed with the Ascended Shadow here. If he could take down this round, though, I would be unbelievably thoroughly impressed. It does not look like it's going to be the case today, though. Even if that first bad does get taken down, the second bad definitely will not be taken down. And there it is, round 200. Finally, gonna finish us off. Woo! Good plays. Right, so we have just achieved the Engineer Paragon degree 76. One thing to keep in mind with this guy in particular is that the way he works, even though it doesn't show it directly, is for every round that he exists, he overclocks himself. So he will get stronger over time. The more rounds he exists, the stronger he is. It's difficult to do a perfect job in getting him exactly when you could possibly earliest get him or something like that, but around 150 seems to be a realistic expectation if you were going to go for a level 76 Paragon, which we probably wouldn't end up getting in any sort of boss balloon action or anything like that, but just want to throw it out there that this is, again, I think reasonably fair for what we're having to deal with here. So this guy has 3 different attacks, or 3 different things that he does. We've got this purple shooting Paragon here. I guess it's a green Sentry Paragon. We've got the red Sentry Paragon, and then we've got the blue Sentry Paragon. And all 3 of these guys are going to attack in different ways. The one shoots a giant red flame, because he's the red one. This guy shoots out like a sort of Moab Destructor thingamabob. This guy shoots out this purple beam that I have to aim. I am not allowed to put on default anywhere. I will have to aim this guy, and I will have to aim the bads, particularly at the end of the game here, when they start to get a little bit further on the map. And then the Engineer himself also shoots out regular attacks with random nails. You can see these random nails kind of shooting over here, so that's also going to be an attack. You can target him on last, close, strong, or whatever you feel like, but we're going to, again, leave everybody on first here. I feel like it makes the most sense to go late game if you're acting as a solo Paragon, which is not always the best way to play the game. Let's admit that. So let's see how far we can get with this puppy. Alrighty then, we just broke round 170. I don't want to say that we're going super duper strong, but we are still going. I know that I've said that before, but it's very tricky to know when that last bloom's going to sneak through. Those bads can be very easy sometimes, and then randomly, kind of out of nowhere, your monkeys attack wrong or whatever, and like a bad sneaks through. Ascended Shadow didn't seem to have that issue because he was so seeking with all of his attacks, and he had infinite range with his card attack, which was really good against the bads and such. But this guy might not be able to do that. I can only really micro this guy a little bit. If I do decide to, for example, micro one of these guys to somewhere else on the map, it takes a long time for that to come back. It's really not that long, but it's the time that takes me to build 3 different sentries all in a row, and I have to build them if I want to reposition anything. So I'm going to reposition all 3 of these, and the reason why I want to do this is because I want to see how much pops each one of these sentries are getting, because it's always good to have more information when we're doing tests like these. So now that I've rebuilt all 3 of them, they're pretty close to when they got built, and what I want to do is I just kind of want to survive it out for another 2 or 3 rounds or something like that, and then look at how many pops each one of these guys has. And I believe that they're probably going to be fairly similar to each other, but I think the red Paragon ends up being the strongest for some reason, and then the purple Paragon, I believe, is kind of like the second most strong, depending on where you aim, and then the blue one, I believe, if I remember correctly, is actually the weakest, but we're going to have to confirm that once I finally get a few more rounds in here. The longer we play this out, the better off we are. I don't know if you've seen or not, but this Engineer Paragon is actually getting quite strong. He's got the red goggles on now and everything. You can see how he's shooting even faster with all the nails. And this is only about 25 rounds of attacks for him to go through here, which is kind of cool, if you ask me. It does make me want to test out a level 1 Paragon Engineer and just see what happens if I level him up for, you know, 150 or 200 rounds or something like that. It'd be cool. So let's look at the pop count here and just kind of see where we're at. We'll test it again later. So we got about 3 million for the green, about 6 million for the red, and about 4 million for the blue. So it looks like the blue is more powerful than our green sentry, which is kind of interesting. I thought it would be the purple second most, but the red, clearly the strongest Paragon sentry by far, pretty much. Can't even find him anymore, but that was pretty delicious. All right, let's keep it going here. Let's see if we can make it past around 180 or even go into the 190s. That would be beautiful. Woo, wee. Here we go. We're around 190 now, and I am a little impressed with this Engineer Paragon. He's doing okay. Now, I don't know if I've talked about price yet, but Sentry Champion, Ultra Boost, and Extra Large Trap together are fairly expensive compared to the other 5 tiers we've talked about, and the Master Builder is also the most expensive Paragon so far. So, that being said, he should be very, very good. And so far, I'm not unimpressed. With minimal effort, very little overall micro, just aiming bad balloons with this guy just a tiny bit, and I don't even need to do that all the time because most of the time I can just aim down this general way. We're doing fantastic. Should be noted that the purple beam is surprisingly somewhat weak-ish, I guess. It's really the other things doing most of the damage. So even if I didn't aim this thing, it doesn't even feel like that big of a deal here. And against most of the bads, I could just aim it this way, and they'll still get popped anyways. So let's see if we can make it to 200! There's no way we're beating 200, but if we make it to 200, that is quite impressive. Oakley dokley, let's go over the updated pop count before we hit round 200 here. Our purple is at 20, or excuse me, I keep calling it purple. I think it's purple because it's got the purple beam coming out of it, bro. The green Sentry Paragon is at 28 million, the blue at 41 million, and the red at 65 or 66 million. Pretty, oh, look at this, a lot of balloons coming in here. Doesn't seem to matter too much, though. Bad balloons still slowly getting popped here, and it looks like we will make it to around 200. The question is, how badly do we get rocked? Definitely, admittedly though, comparable to a Ascended Shadow, at the very least. Alright. Now keep in mind that, like I said earlier, I don't think that it's worth it to try to micro through some of these things. I don't think you're going to make it quick enough to do like 3 different abilities all in a row here, so probably not worth it to try to do any of that nonsense. Even if it is, it's just like too much work for me anyways. So round 200 is... will we take down the first one? The question is, will we take down the second one? Oh, man, there really is like a possible chance that maybe if I micro just a smidge better, maybe it would go down. But I'm still going to say that's where it's got to go. Round 200 for the second Paragon in a row. Alrighty then, this was by far the worst Paragon for me to get for a couple different reasons. First of all, he's kind of annoying to get in the first place. Second of all, you need a lot of water, which is one of the interesting things about this Paragon, is that most maps, you cannot get him up to level 76 unless you're able to use powers, which let's be honest, in elite games and things like that, you aren't allowed to do it. So that's the #1 reason why it's fairly difficult to do, because you have to use a bunch of pools or something else to make sure you can fit as many towers as you need on the screen, and you do need a fairly significant amount of them. I think it's something like 30 and change, even on the most expensive of the Buccaneers. Then on top of that, getting pops for your Buccaneers is also surprisingly difficult. So, for whatever reason, the carrier flagship, even though he's pretty solid, still it cannot solo, you know, around 120, 130. So you have to use a bunch of support towers to slow down the balloons and everything to keep everything alive and make it all happen. And I'm not complaining to you guys. I'm just letting you know that it was by far the most difficult, which makes me realize that even if this guy is really, really powerful, he's not as easy to get as some of the other ones. And that might come into play on how you want to get this guy going. Like, it causes some chaos. And then on top of that, normally I was doing all of these in the community, I keep calling it the community, the challenge editor thingamabob, and I don't know why, but it kept enabling powers, and it wasn't letting me use powers at all. So to do this, I had to start from round 1 instead of whatever round I felt like in the challenge editor, and I had to earn all this money as well. So that means I had to build a bunch of merchantmen, spend all of my monkey money on these pools and everything just to get this going for you guys. So no complaints here, but I just want to let you guys know that this was fairly complicated to make happen. So again, if you want to press that like button for me, that would just be absolutely delicious. We're hoping that this guy can run through for us through round 190, no problem, and then we're going to have to start using our abilities and stuff like that to time when we kill these bads. Because what's interesting is his regular attacks can kill bads. But you also have this ability over here which can insta-kill any blue, including bads and including reinforced bads. The only thing that can suck in a bad and insta-kill it like that. Rodonkulous. Technically, there are other ways to possibly kill a bad. For example, Legend of the Night can kind of just like disappearify it, but that's not really killing it as much as disappearifying it, which is definitely unique, I suppose. That being said, we're going to run through this as fast as we possibly can. Hopefully get you guys to around 200. Hopefully, crossing our fingers, with this Navarch Paragon of the Seas. It's about that time for us to talk prices. So we did talk about how this was fairly complicated to do, but as far as money is concerned, this guy's not that bad at all. I mean, of course, he's no Dart Monkey Paragon, but look at this. It's only 30,000, 30,000, 30,000, or less for each of these three, less than 100k combined, and 600,000. That is like on par with our, if not less than our Ascended Shadow. Yeah, less than the Ascended Shadow. And actually reasonably close to the Boomerang. Which is, I haven't done the math exactly here, but it just kind of blew my mind a little bit that this guy was actually as cheap as he was. Somewhat impressively cheap. So, if this guy's going to actually take us to around 200 as well, or maybe even 200 and beyond, things are going to get really, really interesting, man. I mean, I got to say that this guy has got to be the best Paragon in the game, if you ask me. And I do wonder if, in the future, they ever feel like nerfing these guys or anything like that, what's going to happen with them. I don't know, but let's see if he is going to make it to 200 before I decide that officially. In any normal situation, we would officially be in the end game here, round 199. That would be the definite, like, either last round for me or, holy crap, we got one more to go. 200 to finale it off with 2 reinforced bads, but guess what? We can insta-kill one of these puppies, and then no, round 200, the killer of every other round ever, and no. The Paragon Destroyer, the Paragon Master, the Paragon King, the Navarch of the Seas. And now is where it begins to get very interesting, because not only is there like 1 bad or 2 bads, there's many bads on top of each other, 200 plus, and there's reinforced bads intermixed with all of this. So you really have to like try to time and or match up getting the reinforced bad killed if you want to survive beyond round 200. And I just don't even know if that's in the cards for me here, guys. But no, oh, and there it is. What? I don't even know what snuck through. Maybe a DDT? And there it is, round 201 with 312 million pops on our team here, folks. Absolutely fantastic. Very impressed. Very cool. He's got some cool shots here too, man. I like all of that. But that's where he's got to go. Lastly, but surely not leastly, we've got the Goliath doomship Paragon. Again, level 76. One weird thing about this guy is that he has an ability that you have to actively use. Kind of similar to the other two Paragons we just talked about. It's kind of difficult to use, too, because depending on the map, it's going to depend on how and where you want to use it, because the way this is going to work is that you actually have to click 2 different areas on the map that are somewhat different from each other. So, for example, if I want a bombing run to bomb along this nice straight line right here, what I'd want to do is I'd say I'd want to click here, and I want to wait until I get all the way over to the other side of the map, and I can click over here, and that will be the length of my bombing run. But if you want a specific area of small damage, your bombing run's probably going to want to be shorter. So, for example, you might want to wait until all these balloons kind of match up right on top of ourselves over here, and you get 2 or 3 times where they wrap around, and then you're going to get your bombing run to happen. So, it really depends on what your strategy is and what you're trying to get out of this, especially if you're doing late game runs or boss balloons or something like that. You might even be able to reposition him and have different bombing runs happen at different times, which means there is a decent amount of skill, or at least a decent amount of micro going on inside of this Monkey Ace Paragon. In addition, you do have the ability to use different targeting with this guy, or just different flight paths, I guess. You could put him on Wing Monkey, which means he kind of just follows the balloons in general. Usually tries to follow the first balloons. It's not perfect, don't get me wrong, but it does a pretty good job overall. If you just find a really good spot where you already have this guy and he's just going very well, you can put him on Circle Path, or Figure Infinite, Figure 8, or Centered Path if you want to. In my opinion, for Monkey Aces that are not the Goliath Doomship, my best Monkey Ace strategy is usually to put him in the right spot and put him either on Figure Infinite or Figure 8, depending on how things are going, but usually it's Figure Infinite because the game is kind of horizontal more than it is tall, so it just makes more sense to go like this. And just keep him very close to the balloons, and that's going to keep him popping the most. But I'll be straight with you guys and say that Wing Monkey, if you put him anywhere else that is not ideal location, Wing Monkey is probably better. But I have had it happen before where I've done tests and Wing Monkey has performed worse than doing a Figure Infinite or a Figure 8, because sometimes he just flies off into spots that don't make that much sense. So it's kind of up to you on what you want to go for. Wing Monkey is kind of like the easiest, just to say, hey, no matter what, he's probably going to be doing really, really good. Figure 8 is probably the next best one if you put him in the right spot. And then Figure Infinite is the next best one. And then Figure 8 is probably the third best one that you could probably still make him work out well, but he might not be perfect. You know, Figure 8 would probably be somewhere like over here where he can fly this general area right here. I almost never recommend Circle, and I almost never, ever recommend the Centered Path. I don't know what it is about Centered Path that sucks so much balls, but it's just bad. You can reposition your Centered Path, which is kind of intriguing. I just don't like it. Definitely recommending Wing Monkey or Figure Infinite as your best targeting, I guess. And then when it comes down to it, make sure you're using your abilities properly, because this ability is going to take some time to come into play. So when you click this ability, you're going to notice it's going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish seconds to actually commit to that bombing run. And by that time, DDTs and other quick balloons might already be gone. So you're really going to have to rely on playing it properly. Timing that ability to make sure that it's going to line up right when you want it to line up, instead of just randomly lining up at the wrong time, or if you're trying to use it at stupid times. I don't know. It just takes some real work here and some getting used to make sure that this guy's going to be used to his full potential. And the reason why I'm talking about full potential is because when you're spending over $1 million on a tower, you want to make sure that he's doing the right job. You want to just say, oh, well, I could have done 25% more popping power by just doing a better job with him. Like, that sucks, dude. So keep in mind that this is the most expensive Paragon. First of all, you have to buy the Flying Fortress for 82, the Tsar Bomb, which is pretty cheap, and the Sky Shredder, which is reasonably cheap. But still the most expensive 3 combined 5th-tier towers, I believe. Actually, no, I think Engineer might be higher because of the overclock. But anyways, very, very high cost over here. But then on top of that, look at this thing. $864,000 for this puppy. So we're looking at easily over $1 million when you combine it together. And that does not include the fact that you're also spending approximately $250,000 on all of the other towers as well. But again, that's just kind of like a normal everyday thing that everybody has to do, so it's easy to just kind of ignore it as a non-variable. So that being said, this guy's pricey. He better be frickin' good. Let's see how far he can get and see if he's going to live up to his delicious Goliath doomship name here. Well, to be honest with you guys, I'm more than a mild bit upset right now. My approximately 20-something minute run just crashed, and look what happens when I press continue. It says loading, and then it kicks me out. Dead. So that's broken. I can't get back into it. I'm going to have to redo this entire Monkey Ace nonsense, which is so upsetting. All right, so we're back in action here, and of course in spontaneous Chris action, I messed up my recording as well. So I started recording a little bit earlier, but I wasn't recording. So yeah, here we are again. We have the delicious Goliath doomship here, degree 76. I decided to use his ability here kind of across the map, so I'm going to kind of put it like here and then all the way up to the top up in here. And when we use this ability, you're going to see how powerful it actually is. It's going to blow up all these oh my gods to nothing, and then the bad we're already knocked down to oh my gods here. So don't forget that basically as many bads as there are, it doesn't really matter. If there's 65 bads, but they're all connected together or close together, we can still use this ability and do some pretty mega damage to them. Usually that's not the case. Usually they're more spaced out and all that stuff, but it's just kind of cool to know that you have like infinite-ish popping power at your fingertips here, man. It's kind of cool. So our goal is, of course, to get to round 200. We've had two other guys get to 200 here, and we're hoping to make it more, baby. Seems like 200 is a really weird limit. I really wish that I could test out somehow magically just like skipping around 200 and starting on 201 or something like that, but a lot of the buffs that some of these towers are going to get are going to go away. And surviving to around 200 by themselves is already really, really difficult. So, yeah. Let's see where we can get, my friends. Alright guys, upsettedly, it happened again on round 196. It crashed on me and it will not let me play again, so that's where it's got to go. I did lose on round 196, and when I pressed retry round is exactly when it crashed. And I was trying to like reuse my ability in a better way or something like that, but I'm going to leave it at 196 because I did my best, and on my first try, I failed. So there it is, 196 for our ridiculous Paragon here. It's a little upsetting to be on this screen while I'm saying this, but it is what it is, my friends. It is what it is. Of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you press that like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't. And, of course, have a super duper delicious day.